So there's been another release of Final Fantasy VII Remake. This time it's officially and finally available on Steam. Yes, it previously released on PC, but then on Epic Game Store, which I did a full review of that version if you want to check that out. And now that it's available on Steam, that means it's available to play on the Steam Deck, which is my preferred way to play this game. And even though I was already playing this on my Steam Deck, I was playing it through the Epic Game Store launcher through a workaround. But this time I can play it natively on Steam and not have to go through various launchers. And we're going to talk about the performance on the Steam Deck, the general performance on PC in comparison to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. And yeah, generally this is the fourth time I'm reviewing this game. I reviewed it previously on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC via Epic Games, and now I'm reviewing it on Steam, and kind of a double review. So Steam via also Steam Deck. So that's two reviews in one. We're going to talk about all that and so much more in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it.
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
Before we kick this video off, I want to give a huge shout out and Mahalo to Square-Enix for providing a review copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for Steam. Like I said in the opening, this is the fourth time I'm reviewing this game, and honestly, the differences between the Epic Game Store version and the Steam version, there is actual parity at this point. So it's really, what platform do you prefer to play it on? And there you go. That's going to solve that issue for you. Also, I guess a bit of another thing to answer if you've got the Steam Deck is, can you play this on the Steam Deck and does it run flawlessly? I'm here to report, yes, it does. So we're going to dive into that in the review. But if you do get this on the Epic Game Store, if you follow the link in one of these corners to my Epic Game Store and GOG installation video on how to get that running on your Steam Deck, then you can, if you've got it on Epic Game Store, you can play that way too. We're going to dive into that and so much more in this review. But before we do that, if you enjoy the content I put out, the videos, the Steam Deck tutorials, reviews, and so much more that I do, then make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. And if you want to support the content that we do have channel memberships as well as Patreon. Links to everything down in the description below. And with that being said, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for Steam, and also how it runs on Steam Deck. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and knock out the first thing that you probably are wondering is, how does this game run on the Steam Deck? Is it nice? Are there any issues with it? You know, does it run or chug or anything like that? And I'm here to tell you right now that this game runs buttery smooth on the Steam Deck. Now, there are some videos out there how you can, set it to get rid of the dynamic resolution scaling and all that. But out of the gate, if you just install it on your Steam Deck and you go ahead and hit play, then it's going to auto configure itself. It's going to be at a 1280 by 720 resolution, running with high textures, low detail for the shadows, and by default it's going to be set to 30 frames per second, but you can actually turn up to 60 frames per second. And while it will have an occasional dip here and there to like 55, maybe 50 frames per second, depending on if there's a lot of chaos going on, you can generally just expect a smooth performance throughout on the Steam Deck. And aside from the performance on the Steam Deck, you're probably wondering what the battery life you're going to be getting if you do play this on the Steam Deck. And roughly you're going to be getting about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on your brightness setting. If you got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all the other stuff set on, you can about, like I said, hour and a half, 2 hours off of a full charge. So that's not too bad when it comes overall to like the general performance of this on the Steam Deck. It looks smooth, plays smooth, it's silky. And yeah, I mean, even when you dock it, if you were to dock it to a monitor or TV, it will upscale itself. which it can upscale itself all the way up to 4K. What you preferably want to do is you'd want to upscale this to maybe 1920 by 1080 or 1440p, and then run that at about 60 frames per second, which it will do. And another thing you could do is, if you've got the M Classic, you can connect that to your Steam Deck running into your capture card or into your TV or monitor, and then it'll do its additional processing work, which will make it look even better. It's not going to look as good as it would if it was natively just running on the PC or on the PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 4, but for what it is, running on such a portable device, I think it works really fine. So now that we got the Steam Deck information out of the way of how it performs on it, let's go ahead and talk about how it performs on PC overall. The PC port comes with a few key differences from the PlayStation 5 version, yet doesn't give you the robust set of options one would expect of a console title going to PC. I can safely say that it is well optimized for PC and runs without often a hitch or performance issues. You get both the base game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as the Intergrade or Intermission expansion from the PlayStation 5 version that are both selectable from the main menu. Or if you just play through the main story, you'll run into Intermission anyway. If you want a full detailed review of the game, then refer to my review of the PlayStation 5 version of Intergrade, which I will link in the top corner as well as in the description down below. Now, I personally ran the game on my desktop that has an RTX 3070 rocking an i7 10700K with 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz of RAM, with a monitor that was able to support 4K 120 frames per second with HDR settings all maxed out to 10. And on my gaming laptop, which is an Asus ROG M16, it has an RTX 3060 rocking an i9 11900H, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM at 3200 megahertz at a resolution of 1440p at 120 frames per second, with both machines having Windows 11. There aren't any DLSS options if you're on an Intel rig, nor are there any Super FX options if you're running an AMD setup. What baffles me is the fact that instead of having a plethora of display options to tweak and tons of accessibility options that you can easily configure to get the best experience for your setup, you're left with only two options being windowed or borderless, along with your resolution settings and frame rate settings options. There are no options for being able to take advantage of an ultra-wide display, so if you're like me and you have an ultra-wide, then you'll be left with the central image with black bars on the left and right sides of the screen, which is honestly disappointing, which makes no sense when something like Final Fantasy 15 has ultra-wide support, and then 7 Remake does not. Now, the graphics running at 4K look amazing, especially with the HDR turned on. However, just like the console ports, there are many textures and assets that look rough, if not downright terrible and blurry, which will make you realize that this was a game that was built for the PlayStation 4 in mind and not the current generation of consoles as well as graphics cards for computers. There is no way for me to test this game on all PC configurations, but again, the game is so well optimized that you can expect it to work well on almost any setup running at least at a bare minimum a GTX 1060 and up. Even though I do know that Square-Enix does say that you can run with a lower graphics card, I personally would not try to run this on anything below a 1060 or maybe a 1050 graphics card. Now, I have heard and seen reviews where the game was bashed for its performance and lack of customization, and yet I haven't run into any performance issues whatsoever. When it comes to the controls, you have the options to either play the game with a traditional controller or even with a mouse and keyboard combo. Now, you're wondering which is better. That's truly up to you as a player, because how you prefer to play the game is on a case-by-case basis. Me personally, I find the standard controller setup to be the most comfortable, and thus I've been playing it with the PowerA Fusion Pro 2 controller and utilizing the ability to custom map actions to the back pedals of the controller. So you might be wondering, is this the definitive way for you to play Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade? And honestly, it's really up to you. If you are a PC gamer, then yeah, this is the perfect way to play it. I mean, yeah, you could get it on Epic Game Store. You can also get it on Steam. It's really a matter of which launcher and platform do you prefer, so you can play it on your preferred platform. And then also the additional options of having the higher resolution over, and performance over the PlayStation 5 version. I do say that it is a little unfortunate that you don't get the option of being able to utilize a ultra wide monitor. This Steam release is still lacking the same things that the Epic Game Store version lacked when it came to, the additional options for customization. Say if you got an ultra wide screen like me, I've got three ultra wide monitors and it doesn't scale itself. It still sticks with the aspect ratio that it has out of the box. So that's a little infuriating. I wish it would have had some options to toggle so that you can tailor it to your preference of what type of monitor, TV, or whatever that you have. And outside of that, I mean, it's just a matter of what do you want to play it on? You want to play it on PC? You want to play it on your Steam Deck? Or do you want to play it on your PlayStation 4 or your PlayStation 5? Now, honestly, being able to play it on the Steam Deck to me is a game changer because it's Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade portably. I'm not streaming it. I'm playing it natively on some hardware and it runs buttery smooth. That to me is a game changer right there. And yeah, if I had to choose between PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 and, PC via Steam or Epic Game Store, I'm probably going to lean towards Steam. And I think generally I'm more someone who does lean more towards like PC games like Steam, Epic Game Store, GOG, and all that, just because I like to tinker and I like to play games to look their best and have the best performance and everything like that. Now, granted that Rebirth is going to be coming out next year, you're gonna have to cop a PlayStation 5 because eventually it will come to PC, but it's probably going to be a year to 6 months later before that even happens. After that game launches, before it hits PC or the platform. So yeah, it's really up to you, whatever platform you find to be better. I say I prefer it on Steam and playing it on Steam Deck and playing it on my laptop and my gaming desktop. That's my personal decisions and thoughts on it. But all that being said, I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for Steam? Did you pick it up? Are you playing it on the Steam Deck? Did you get your Steam Deck yet? Or do you prefer to play it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5? Whatever your thoughts are, let's go ahead and get the conversation going in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. If you want to support the content that we do and you enjoy what we put out from Steam Deck, tutorials, game reviews, tech reviews, podcasts, interviews, and so much more, then make sure you head on over to patreon.com/MikhailCasanova and become a patron today. And also check out our channel memberships as well. And various perks and comes with both of those. So with that being said, I'm signing out. I hope you guys have a great aloha rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one. So be blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you around. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. And if you found anything of importance or substance that you gained from watching this, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the content that you get from my channel, from podcasts, streams, reviews, impressions, reactions, and so much more. If you want to support what we do have channel memberships. We've got Patreon, we've got Subscribe Star, as well as coffee, which I would love to be drinking some coffee right now, which I am. That's some good coffee. But anyway, we got all of that, and we also have merch on Teespring and TeePublic, so make sure you go check that out. And all that being said, I just hope to see you in the next video that I put out. So hey, see you around.